Hi cuties. So if you're a fan of the Jack the Ripper channel, you might already be familiar with my previous content I made about Dead Rising's Deluxe Remaster. If not, a year ago, I dropped a video speculating about this announced remaster and how it could be potentially make or break for the Dead Rising franchise in its foreseeable future, you smell me? I was excited about this remake, to be honest. I mean, Dead Rising was a mind-blowing title to me as a kid, and also the first Xbox 360 game I ever beat, true story. Truly a once-in-a-generation zombie game about a scenario we've all thought about surviving at least once, you know? Could you imagine having an entire mall all to yourself clapping zombies? Anyways, after all that hoopla and riffraff before the Dead Rising remake, I actually opted to not purchase it day one. I was saving up to build a PC at the time, and honestly just let it pass me by. I played through the entirety of Dead Rising 2 again, and that satiated my hunger until now, okay? It's been on my wish list, and it finally hit a sale that looked appeasing to my eyes. 13 hours later, and boom, I finally beat the Dead Rising Deluxe Remaster, and I've got some thoughts, y'all. Also, I know 13 hours isn't like an insane amount of time, as I put 40 hours in my Dead Rising 2 playthrough alone, but I'm honestly just too excited to talk to y'all about this shit. I decided to just simply beat it and give y'all my thoughts ASAP, okay? Also, quick warning, I will be spoiling things here and there, so if you haven't played this 20-year-old game yet, I will give you a warning right now that yes, I may bring up some little shit here and there, just be wary, okay? First, I suppose I'll talk about the presentation of this remake, as it's probably the major selling point for most people, and yep, it looks good. RE Engine is a beautiful one with great textures, except for like the hair on women. I've always noticed it looks a little floaty, stringy, like with Isabella's hair. It just looks a little weird. I don't know. Not ugly or anything, and to be quite honest, I'm not really a graphics whore like that. I honestly prefer good performance, and I don't know if I can say I got that here, y'all. The first few hours of me playing this video game, I was getting insane stutters for no apparent reason. I have a very decent rig, and I had most of my settings on like medium to high with DLSS on and frame gen enabled. So I would go from like 150 frames to suddenly like 20, and it was the most infuriating thing ever, to the point where I thought about refunding it on Steam while I was under the 2-hour mark. I decided to look it up and realized it was running bad for a lot of people, even folks with better CPUs and GPUs than me. And they gave me the tip to lower the VRAM texture thing to like 1 gigabyte, and it supposedly alleviated the issue, and I did it, and it did work for me as well. I also opted to not have DLSS or FrameGen on as well, and for the most part, I was over 120 frames at that point. Sometimes I would still get stutters when entering new areas or traversing through Leisure Park, but it wasn't anywhere near as horrendous as it was originally. The whole thing was really disappointing because RE Engine runs so good for me on this PC when I played, you know, Resident Evil games, so I was baffled to see just how bad this game was stuttering. I'd expect it if the game was made in like Unreal Engine 5 or something like that, you know, but RE Engine is typically awesome. Regardless, I played the rest of the game decently smooth, but with hindsight, man, I should have just got it on PS5 or something, because I'm pretty sure it's mostly a rock solid 60 FPS on consoles, so shout out to y'all, I guess. It is not a Cyberpunk level disaster, do not get me wrong, but yeah, it definitely needs to be discussed, seeing as how one of the main reasons why this remaster exists in the first place is to provide the best possible way to play Dead Rising 1 in 2025, and these performance issues could hinder a lot of folks. Oh, also, I tested it on my Steam Deck for funsies, and with everything turned to low, I actually had a very fun, playable, smooth experience on the go, which is super sick as hell for any of my fellow Steam Deck perverts out there. The graphics still look pretty good, even on medium to high settings, and I'd say they did a great job with all of the character models, especially our boy Frankie, who looks closer to his OG beta trailer version, which is just sick as hell. There's a slew of quality of life changes here that were so surprising and awesome to see. Firstly, we got an autosave system similar to the later entries in the series, and you know, I've seen people say they don't like this simply because it fucks with the challenge of the OG, but I couldn't fucking care less, man. When I got clapped by the 3 prisoners in my playthrough of the remake, I would have lost like an hour of gameplay, but thanks to the remake's autosave system, I spawned right back out there and mollywopped them on the second try, and that's 2025 gaming for you. The survivor AI is improved here, or perhaps should I say they're just less fucking stupid than the OG, and they'll actually give you hints along the way, like, hey Frank, there's a sword over there, go grab it. They never feel intrusive either, like it's not a God of War situation where they yap every second about shit you might have missed or spoil something, which is nice. Some more quality of life changes that I really love is you can see the exact durability of your items while they're still in your hotbar. You can read what a book does while it's still on a shelf, you know, you don't gotta pick it up. I mean, there's so many awesome improvements like that that are just super great to see here. I would say the gameplay for the most part feels exactly the same as the original, which either pisses you off or gives you feelings of nostalgia. I'm the latter, obviously. These janky fucking controls are wonderful to me, but I will say it's great to have some modern-esque buttons here, like being able to use the trigger as an attack, or, you know, having dodge roll be the circle button like it's Dark Souls in this bitch. I suppose this is a big reason why they opted to title this a remaster and not a remake, because I'm telling you, this shit felt like stepping into a time portal and playing it all over again for the very first time. It's not super responsive or clean, and the shooting is still very stiff here, even with the ability to aim and move at the same time, but that simply adds to the charm in my opinion. Something I noticed about Dead Rising 1 after I played 2 was I just really missed the ability to craft weapons. It's such a staple of the franchise at this point, I damn near forgot it wasn't in every single title. It felt like such a prime opportunity for Capcom to sort of spice things up a bit and add it here. It didn't have to be anything crazy like a bunch of new weapons, but let me do some of the cool combos from Dead Rising 2 and we square. Now, I suppose we can talk about one of the biggest points of contention in this remaster package that I've seen all over the internet, and it's the censoring of certain things like psychopaths or removal of possible controversial things entirely, whatever. There's no erotica subgenre anymore when you're taking pictures. Psychopaths have altered dialogue, and a few character survivors were changed to have like less revealing clothing and shit like that. While I understand some people's perspective of being outraged at any changes from the original game, I am here to report that literally none of these changes bothered me in the slightest because I didn't need them here to have fun still, you know? Would I have enjoyed the game if all of that shit was still here? Of course, because in my opinion, all of it is so minimal, it really doesn't change my opinion of the remaster at all. I'm simply here to play a fun zombie video game, and I'm not worrying about any of that shit, but I'm glad they didn't get rid of anything super big or super important or take entire sections out. The game is almost identical to the original, so who gives a fuck, dude? Now we can talk about some light story stuff here, so once again, I will be spoiling shit. Skip to here if you don't want to hear about it because I love you, okay? For anyone interested, I did get Ending A here, which is the canonical one that goes into overtime mode and then you do that stupid fucking boss fight on the top of the tank. Yes, I said it, I hate this boss fight. Frank screams into the heavens and boom, game's over. This, in my opinion, is one of the weaker canon endings in the whole series. Yes, I get that it's supposed to be dark and bleak and essentially show that Frank lost no matter what. I would have just liked some additional cutscenes at the end, you know? Perhaps more conversation with Isabella, a tease of a Dead Rising 2 remake, or a reference to Off the Record. I don't know, it's just, once again, a prime opportunity for them to add some more cool shit and justify this being a definitive version of Dead Rising 1, and Capcom fumbled a little in my eyes. It's not a bad thing that it's exactly the same, I just think we deserved a little bit more, you know? All in all, that's really how I feel about this remaster as a whole at this point. It's pretty good, but it definitely feels like something where they should have taken their time and waited till maybe 2026 for the 20th anniversary and truly remade the game. We already had a decent remaster of Dead Rising 1 and 2 on modern platforms that play perfectly in my eyes. This remaster thing just feels a bit odd overall. If it's someone's first time getting into the Dead Rising franchise, I do think it's a perfectly fine place to start, as the graphics are great, shit's a tad bit more modernized, and it's just not a horrendous experience. The next time I want to play Dead Rising 1 though, I might stick to the OG just for nostalgia, I suppose. It's funny because playing through this remaster made me realize I might think Dead Rising 2 is the superior video game. I think they nailed the comedy and seriousness mixture perfectly there, and Fortune City is more of a fun playground in my opinion. Frank West is a better protagonist, but Dead Rising 2 is most likely my official favorite Dead Rising game, and its standalone DLCs are fantastic too. But yeah, a year later, Dead Rising Deluxe Remaster is a fine package overall. It's the perfect game to get on a sale or borrow a copy from a friend or something, but the OG just has a real argument of still being that definitive version. I do not want to shit on this remaster at all, do not get me wrong. I really did have a blast playing it. Shit, I hope Capcom does the second game too, you know? I just have this weird feeling after beating it, like damn, it low-key could have been better, could have been more. And as far as the Certified Ripper ranking system goes, I would love to plug this bitch in at a fair 7.5 rips out of 10 rips. Let me know what y'all are thinking about this remaster down below. Is it something that you fucked with, or perhaps was it disappointing to you as well? That's really about it though, y'all. Love ya. Bye!